Hi Aries, welcome to your December 2019 Astro Update. It's Rena here, and so we're ending the year on what I think is a high note. We are not having any retrogrades in December. Well, Uranus is still retrograding and will go direct in January, and then no planets will be retrograding, but Uranus isn't a personal planet, so we had Mercury retrograding during most of November, and now we have a green light month. And so for Aries, the fact that the sun is in Sag is awesome because Sagittarius is a fellow fire sign. So that trines your sun or your rising sign in Aries. And that means that there is easy energy flow between the transiting sun and your natal sun or your ascendant. And because of the nature of what Sagittarius represents, that also will indicate a positivity that I think that you're going to enjoy. This is your ninth house, Sagittarius. And so there might be some kind of travel. Obviously, because this is a holiday month for many people, travel is pretty commonplace. But for you, it's even more indicated. And it could be travel that is out of the country. And so whether you're going back to the land where you were born, maybe it's overseas, or you're just exploring another continent, who knows? This may be the time when you're doing it especially. On the 2nd of the month, we have an important development because Jupiter, the planet that rules Sagittarius and is associated with expansion, good fortune, goes into Capricorn. And for you, this is the 10th house of career. So in 2020, Aries, you're going to have yet another transit in that 10th house, another transiting planet. At the time that Jupiter goes into that sign of Capricorn on the 2nd of December, Pluto has been there for 12 years, since 2008. Saturn has been there for 2 years, since 2017, and at the end, like in December, so just a little bit over 2 years. And the South Node has been there for over a year. So Jupiter joins this party, and it lightens things up because those three transiting entities, I'm not going to call the South Node a planet, are challenging to an individual in their own ways. So Jupiter is more about bestowing people with a sense of optimism and supposed to be lucky too. So that may be something that you really experience in the next year, where you get a lucky break in your career. Something happens that might be labeled a fluke. And the reason I say this is because, well, what I was going to say, what I have been saying in other videos, is that I think that the word luck can be misleading because, when you hear about somebody who's in show business and they get quote unquote discovered, if you will, sometimes they may be doing something completely different, and somebody like a talent scout sees something within them and thinks that they would be a great movie star. But I think in the majority of cases, when a person is discovered, or an overnight sensation, like maybe they write a book that just takes off, they still had to do the work. So this idea of the lucky break, there may be some truth to it sometimes, but the person still put themselves out there. And so whatever it is that is your dream, Aries, understand that if you're looking for a lucky break, you have to produce something, I should say, that can, experience that luck. And this would be career-wise. And I think that Aries people generally are very into producing, into taking action. The only thing with you, Aries, is sustaining that desire to see something through. You might be initially excited about something like a project or goal, and then halfway through, you kind of like move on to the next thing, because after it becomes just that day-to-day grind of having to work towards something, that's when you might lose interest. And so I encourage you in 2020, if you have career ambitions, that you pick one particular goal and really do what you can to achieve it. Like, don't spread yourself too thin, or don't, really think ahead of time what kind of goal you'd like to achieve, because you may just kind of throw a bunch of things against the wall and see if anything sticks, rather than taking time to be very, very intentional about what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So that's going to be an exciting development in terms of your professional life, to have Jupiter in that 10th house. On the 9th, Mercury moves into fellow fire sign Sagittarius. And the day before, the 8th, Mercury is out of its shadow. So Mercury was in the 8th house until the 9th. And so it's moving into something that is a lot more about philosophy rather than hidden knowledge or hidden wisdom. So, but they both have in common, the 8th and 9th houses, the kind of God-related interests. I think that's the one angle between both of these sectors that connects them. And so if there's a progression of planets that are in the 8th house going into the 9th house, or even the 10th house, that is showing the progression between your philosophy, your spiritual beliefs, your philosophy, and how they relate to your goals, which will be the 10th house and Capricorn. And even Mercury in the 9th house can be something about passport, if you're trying to get your paperwork in order to be able to travel. On the 11th or 12th, depending on where you live in the world, there's going to be a full moon at 19 degrees of Gemini. As I have been stating in other videos in this series, if you live in the Eastern time zone of the United States, this will be at 12:12 a.m. on 12/12. So that's pretty cool. I'm in the Midwestern time zone, so it's 11:12. It's not as interesting, but in any case, because this is in Gemini, it's in your 3rd house of communication, Aries. And this can be, the 3rd house can be your siblings, or if you have extended family that is involved in your life in some way, like aunts and uncles can be also, in addition to brothers and sisters, it could be cousins or aunts and uncles. The full moon can bring some awareness to you about one of these people, or maybe multiple of these people. So there may be an emphasis on someone like that, or neighbor or something. This could bring some sort of teaching, if you're teaching like the lower grades or tutoring, what have you, that could be coming to an end, or you've taken it as far as you can go for some reason. If you have been doing a writing project, you may be ending it now. On the 20th, Venus goes into Aquarius, and for you, this is going to be in your 11th house of hopes and wishes, which has been called by an astrologer, a late astrologer, as the luckiest house. And the full moon, if Venus is in this house, now this is the 20th that Venus goes into that sector. This is the house that deals with your friendships and group associations, and you may be more, I would say, social during this period of time for whatever reason. This can be you trying to win friends and influence people, as they say, that book says. And you might just do it because there is that tendency to be very friendly. And you may meet somebody, a romantic partner on the internet. The 11th house can be the internet. The 11th house can even, be your friendships. You meet somebody through a romantic interest through your friends. Could be something like that. On the 21st, we have the solstice in northern hemisphere, the winter, in the southern, the summer solstice, and the sun goes into Capricorn. So the sun goes into your 10th house of career. This is a few days before Christmas Eve. And that is when, whether it's the 25th or the 26th, depending on where you live, where there is a solar eclipse at 4 degrees of Capricorn, a powerful new moon. So for you, Aries, this means that you have the solar eclipse in your career sector. So that has to be good for advancement with career. And you may just feel like you have so many options. They may not present themselves in that time period. It might be a little bit after that you start to see what has occurred in terms of how the solar eclipse has opened up things for your career. On the 28th, there is the transit of Mercury going into Capricorn. And so Mercury has been in Sagittarius in that 9th house, and now it goes into your career sector. Maybe some of you are traveling long distance for your career, for teaching, for instance, because Mercury can be the mind. So maybe that's what's happening. And maybe it's like teaching abroad, teaching English as a second language, something along those lines. Mercury in the 10th house can also be hearing from some career place or some place that wants to hire you if you're looking for work or thinking about the kind of career that you want to do. Maybe your mental efforts are in this particular area. I think that this is really where things are at for you in December, Aries specifically. The career is on fire because Jupiter has gone into Capricorn, so that's in the 10th house. Jupiter's in the 10th house. And then you have the sun going there on the 21st, a solar eclipse there a few days later, and Mercury there. So it's like that's where the action is. And that seems to indicate that that may be where you have success. And this is really great because you're going to be going into 2020 with a running start. Since this is at the end of 2019 when this is all happening with your career. And so you're kind of positioning yourself in a good, to start the year on a good foot, ambition-wise. So I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like to look at 2020, I have created an extended transits reading, and I'm going to be offering this through the month of December. I'm not going to keep it because I already have a reading like this that is shorter, but I felt that since some people want more of these kinds of predictive things, that this would be a good time to promote that type of reading. Who knows? Maybe I will keep it and just do whatever 12 months people are looking for. But for now, I'm going to just offer it. I feel like it's going to be a temporary thing. It depends on if people are interested in extended readings. But there's a special price for that, and you can find out more information by looking at the description box. I'll have that, and I also will have a link to the Jupiter in Aries, Jupiter in Capricorn video and how it affects Aries people that I did, I think it was last week or something. So you can find out more how that will impact you, specifically Aries. And so I hope you enjoyed this and have a great December. Bye.